All right. So we are live again. All right. The mic needs to stop cutting out. All right. So last night, if you guys watched my horrible YouTube video, you would know that I play games for the rest of the 2 hours before I went to bed. And it was so stupid because I literally felt so shit. Like I felt like I had betrayed myself. And it doesn't really matter what you do, guys. Is the fact that what you think you are doing that makes the situation just worse or for the better. So, like literally like my stomach was turning last night. Like I wanted to puke. It is like if I was doing like even now, guys, I can't talk properly, but it was like I was ODing on meth or something. Like that's literally how serious I could relate it to. And it isn't really necessarily what you do. Like, yes, sure. Like if I took drugs, by the way, don't. It'll be a whole different story. Like there'll be physical changes, but mentally and how it made me feel is the fact of how you think or what you think you are doing that makes the situation just worse. Anyways, enough yabbling on. Today or yesterday, we left off with pretty much creating the data structure. If you guys can see that board, which you probably can't, but data structure is done, and it is the data's okay. I haven't really checked into it because I said when I come back from work, I'll finish it. Like I'll do it, but I ended up just hopping on Borderlands 4, which I am deleting today. I didn't finish the story, but oh well, who cares, right? Like it's not a really big deal. Like when I'll have plenty of time when I'm old, right? So it ain't too important now. Like what's important right now is to get out of this house and to be better. That's really what's important. Like I just can't stand the fact that my friends could look me dead in the eyes and think that I am nothing. That's something I am not going to tolerate. Definitely not. So today is just going to be connecting the data structure or the data I had created with my front end. So pretty much instead of using just like dummy data, which is useless, I will create actual data so my application can actually function better. Well, not function better, but actually work properly. And I have to say, like always, like every single morning, coming up here and getting over the mental state of feeling tired did take some discipline. And I think the reason is because not that I am eating breakfast, like everyone's saying like you have to have mental clarity, you have to fast. Like sure, it does work. But over a time, I find that if I fast, first of all, I get used to it. And then it kind of lose its magical effect, right? It's like everything. Like you started for like a few days, a few weeks, you're on this new diet, you're on no fap, whatever. In the first few days or first few weeks, yes, you may feel like you have this laser focus, you have, like you have given God powers. But most of the time it's just placebo and the way you think that what you're doing is actually doing to you. Sure, it may give you mental clarity, right? It may, like all these tactics, gonna work. It's literally gonna work. If you fast, it's gonna work because you're starving yourself, right? You're not using your energy to process food down there. And if you don't fap, yes, it's gonna work because you're not drained all the time. But after a while, you realize that the effect and the power start to dial down a bit. And after that, it kind of just becomes, you become used to it. You become accustomed to it. Now, that does not necessarily mean it's not working anymore. It just means your body's used to it. And what I find is over time, I tend to get tired when I'm fasted. But then again, that's literally all a mindset problem, right? There are plenty of times, back in the day where people would eat food and, there would be kings and queens, probably not queens, but I don't know, but it'll be like king, like King Louis something something, be very fat. Of course, yes, he died young and whatever, but like, probably he ruled his, when he was ruling his time, he was not the best ruler, but still, he was a king, right? And like, yes, mental clarity is important, but sometimes you have to realize it's not really like those are just not really the issue that why you are not focused. The reason you're not focused is because you choose not to think you can be focused, right? And I was like that, before starting stream today. I was just thinking to myself, look, I'm just too tired. Like my mind's just, I can't focus. But then again, I thought to myself, David, if you don't do more work today, first of all, you're confirming that your friends are right, that you can't amount to shit, right? You're a loser, and you probably will never be rich and wealthy, and you'll be mediocre at best, which is something I totally am afraid of. But most importantly, if you don't do this, David, what are you gonna do? Ask yourself, are you really that tired that if you stop meditating right now, that you can just pass out and go to sleep? Probably not, right? You'll probably fill your time with something else, whether that's watching Netflix, whether that's forcing yourself to sleep, or just walking around trying to act like you're doing your steps when in reality, like you have already done them. Like, what are you gonna do? And if you don't, are not to the point where if you just sit there and you literally pass out, then you have some energy, right? You have some energy to do something. And exactly, like when I came here, I feel alive because that it's literally just like I don't know what to say, guys. Like it's just you just have to like you just have to do it when you're tired. Because sometimes we think we overtrain, sometimes we think we know we owe this and that, but really it's just like you just can't be fucked. Let's be honest, guys. You just can't be fucked. And I could not be fucked for a long time, um, until my friends said it to me, straight up that David, you haven't achieved shit. And it's been so long and you don't want to hang out. Like, what are you doing with your life? So I'm like, shit, you're right. And I hate to admit you're right, but they're right. So I gotta create something before I go out, guys. I gotta make something before I go out because going out when you're poor is just not the same. It's just totally not the same. Anyways, enough babbling on. Let's actually get into it, eh? Yeah, this is some H2O. Okay. But also, guys, I have to say the cut is going pretty good. Like today, I weighed myself. I'm 82.3, and the goal is 81.3, which is pretty much there. And I still have like 2 weeks left. Obviously the cut would have been finished by now, but I had kind of went off the rails for a few days, 2 weeks into the intense mini cut. So I am prolonging it for another 2 weeks. Obviously, this is not ideal. You shouldn't do this. And what is this? This is definitely not the Firebase I want to go on. No, I think I'm in the wrong one. Get started. Go to council. That's the one. What does reads mean? Does that mean someone's viewing my page? Because that would be pretty damn cool. 21st of September. That was literally yesterday. And I doubt that because I don't even have that much people watching my stream yesterday. So that is concerning because there we go. We're here. So achievement templates. don't really like the name of it, but it's gonna be okay. So it looks like the AI have split it out a category, all right, created that. Description, icon is template. I don't know why that's necessary. Points, progress target, rarity, common title. First of all, let's go back to cursor and let's find this template, which I think will be pretty easy to find. Probably not, because I actually didn't organize these files myself. But if we look for, it's normally in the scripts because I don't know. That was just an estimate guess, and I think I actually found it. Initial achievements. But that's achievement templates. Okay. So why is that? Also, guys, if you keep seeing me trying to mute, like, this is something I've been very, very conscious about. It's actually very annoying. Like, I feel like me trying to think if I'm mewing or not is just so counterproductive. Like, how do you even mew correctly, right? And it works, but sometimes, like, it's like a distraction for me, at least. I'm trying to find out where achievement template is. Like, how did he get that name? Because that's initialized achievements. Initialized achievements. Oh, there we go. Council.log achievement templates. Or was it? Oh, DB collection. There we go. So that's the name. Okay. Am I in the right tab? Am I in the right tab? How do I check? Okay, what I can do, initialize Firebase admin. There we go, okay. Oh wait, no, that's a different tab. That's the rules. Which one was I in again? Deploy data structure? No. Initialize Firebase data. There we go. Okay, so I would like in the Firebase data structure you had for me. I would like you to make some changes to data layout of achievements. First, do I even need to let him know to rename it when I could just rename it myself? Anyways, I'll do it. First, rename it to achievement badges. I think will be, more valid. How do you spell badge? This is the thing. Like, this is the issue. Like, badge. Yeah, I'm not fully stupid yet. I can still be in my house for a few weeks before I go insane, guys. Achievement badges. But coming back to, me saying that my English isn't the best, it's not because it's not good. Like, I can talk and I can, like, write. It's just that, like, I never got into grammar. I never got into grammar, and there are a lot of words that I could add to my vocabulary to be more concise and be more specific at when I want to mention points, or really um, be be very specific about something I want to mention, right? And that's something I need to work on for sure. First, rename it to achievement badges, and then I want you to remove. These are called fields, right? Yeah. First of all, let's put this into that. Fields. No, I necessarily are. The created ad is by default. So let's do. Description is nice. We need an icon for sure. Remove is template because I don't know why that's there. Points. Do I really want to give my users points by like points is a system, but then doesn't mean I should give them also XP to level up. Progress target rarity. I think is template. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it now. Like, it's a badge, you know, like, what else do you need? The type of task you do matters, right? So, the way of achieving it. Progress target. Like, what is progress target? Description. Type. And I think we should add a type to it. Like, is it a social badge? Is it a task badge? Is it a consistency badge? Is it a streak badge? And then we can use that as a way to grab the data when user, for example, logs in for 7 days and so on. Progress tag. And then I want you to add the following fields. What did I say again? Type, right? Type. Type, and then reward type, badge type. Badge type sounds more specific. Badge type. And target. Oh, so that's what progress target means. Like how many times did you do it? Oh, that makes sense. And then I want to add it for badge type and badge type progress. Sometimes it's good to be specific about like your names. For example, if this is like if you're gonna make like a lot of data structure and you have like just progress target, like you could mean anything, right? And I think that's what I did wrong before is I would like name my functions and whatnot. Like it doesn't make sense. Like the names I picked for my functions made no sense at all, and I would just be so confused on what I wrote myself because like when you name something so similar, right, and but it does something totally different. Like for example, if you have like a function that an easy one would be like add this amount of items to cart versus take away this amount of items from cart. If you just write cart item and then you just write another one called cart items, like you just what I mean. Like how are you gonna debug it later on? You want to obviously that's the extreme example, but that you pretty much get the juice of what I mean. You got to be hyper specific on just the names because this English is really what you will be understanding. Like any other code, like you don't need to remember that. Like what you need to remember is the English. The English is what you need to remember. The code is just let AI do that. But obviously, like now we have the luxury to have these libraries where they already have made the code into like English enough that anyone can literally learn it in a day or few. But there we go. Badge type, bad progress. Now let's check out our categories. Color. Don't know why there's a color. Description. User ID. There's no need for color if there's an icon. Right. Do we need a color? Let's be for real here. How many times have you seen a colored? Actually, there are a few apps I've seen it with like a color background. Like one of the finance apps I'm using for my wallet budget, I think it's called. It definitely categorizes similar similar things under one category. But then again, would I need that much categories? Probably not. We'll keep it there for now. Don't know what the user ID is for though. It's default true. We'll leave it. Tags. And there's no point using AI here. I'll just do it myself instead of just wasting credits. Because eventually, guys, I gotta do some. I gotta do some myself.
So urgent, important, and then all we have to do here is literally so simple, guys. Let's just do this and then change up the names. Not important. Not important. Not urgent. Unwind. I feel like the name would be too long. And there's no point for me to have documentation here at the moment. I don't see that coming into play. Meeting? Sure. Presentation? Sure. Unwind? Like an unwind task. Is that how you spell unwind? Or like break. Break will be alright. I think that's more like a universal understood term. Apart from that, it looks fine. Like literally. But I'm gonna ask. Like I'll think like it's a data structure, right? Because obviously you want to set limitations, otherwise the user can go off board. You know, like for Reddit or whatever, like you can take a picture, you can write like a long description, you can do certain things, but obviously you can't just like I don't know, like putting something crazy, right? Like you can't just I don't know, like do something crazy with it. You know what I mean? like you can attach links and stuff, but you can't just necessarily um, make a game on there. If that makes sense at all. Yeah, so it is a data structure. Okay, so that's a for my could you create the that is a lot. Like a lot of gibberish I do not understand yet. But I'm gonna keep it. And I can see why it created this in a different folder. I think I hid my, there we go. Services. Holy cow. I don't think I want the thread support. Hmm. I don't need stories, I think. Remove stories. Features. shares, I'm not trying to like, create the next Facebook and run Facebook ads on there. I only want something so simple. Like if you're playing, I don't know, Clash of Clans, right? Like you don't want to know how your post is doing, how much engagement you're getting on your post, but rather all you want to do is to communicate with your friends on the same game, right? Like, or maybe even send some troops, send some points to them if they need, and just do the basic communications, right? To keep it like online. Like you don't need to know like, how much, um, you know, things, or how much views is. I mean that actually that does matter, but like to have like those crazy content creator what's that word, creator dashboard section where you have all these little analytic tools and stuff, and sort your demographics, like that is unnecessary. And I think that's something you gotta watch out for too. Like you can definitely get carried away thinking that you need everything, but that just makes your code inefficient, because when you run this code, it's running through everything, right? It's running through top to bottom. Well, at least that's for JavaScript. It could be run for TypeScript, but less is better. And, it's better to be more concise than just hard coding everything, which is what I think this AI is doing at the moment. But, at the moment, I just need my app to work. And then I can go over and look over and re-edit it. But now that's not important, because if I focus solely on getting it perfect, mm, I do want the views. Undo that. Undo that. Media, GIFs and audio. I mean, that's fine too. That's not really the problem. Like, that's important for the back end, you see? Like, that's important for me to know. News inversion. Keep. I don't think I think that that prompt was kind of pointless because it is. I don't think it did what I thought it did. I don't need that. Yeah, I don't need that. Undo that. Like, is there a way to revert this back? we're already in this, so that's all we need to do. First of all, we have to close the server. And then we have to just remove that. Deploy complete, skip. That's what I did, right? I am in finish this. You telling me I wasn't in Firebase? Pretty sure I was. Wait a second. I forgot to remove this. Right. Now I have to remove this delete collection. Achievement templates. What do you mean? You know, didn't enter it correctly. So why was no changes? Oh, there we go. Alright, so now we have some problems, obviously. Health and fitness. So we start moving from here. Tags the same. Wait a second. Presentation. Urgent. Created at September 22. Shit. I'm pretty sure I deleted a lot of my ones yesterday. Crap. Damn it. Okay. That's the thing, like we should separate this file so when we do add things, it's not going to add the whole thing to it, right? If we go on storage, nothing still. It's still a mystery to me. And then again, guys, all these scripts, hello? All right. Like, as I was saying, like all this script, I don't think is necessary because this is only like editing the database. But like afterwards, we can clear this out. You know, when the database is there, we could clear this out because this really should only be like your application, right? All these scripts, this is not supposed to be there. But when you start out, you're gonna need it there. Ooh, that was pretty damn cool, not gonna lie. Since when is it? I don't see no post collection. Do you guys see any posts? I see tags, categories, and achievement badges. I don't see no posts. Man, this shit's tweaking. So we don't need to because they're dynamically curated. What I'm trying to say here is like if there's no collection, right? Then how can we, see the data? Perhaps that'll be in storage actually. But still, like if there's no post structure, can't the user just like go off the rails? Oh yes, okay, automatically curated. Gotcha. Store. Also, guys, if you haven't saw yet, I am wearing my pants. You know, like for once, I'm wearing some alright looking pants, and you know, people say that like you need to like show up to work, like you know, like dressed well and stuff. And if you in your pajamas, if you're you know showing up to work without freaking shoes and shit, and they think that you know you're not taking it seriously. And to an extent, that is valid, right? If you show up, you know, to your own, especially like when you work at home, right? You know, you show up at work, at least you have standards, right? You have standards because those standards are imposed onto you. Like if you show up to work when they require you to, you know, at least wear like a button up, but you show up to work wearing a freaking tank top, then you're gonna get penalized about it, right? Penalized or it was the word, but like when you get pinned on it, right? And there's something to lose. But when you work at home, you're like, oh, I'm at home, right? And normally at home, I unwind, I wear what the fuck I want. And sometimes people show up to work at home, you know, lazy, you know, wearing, you know, for me, probably 2 days ago, wearing the same exact pajama pants. And, you know, people say that has a mindset problem. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're literally like if you know exactly what you are doing and you take things seriously, then you can wear what the fuck you want. You can wear, you know, you can wear sweatpants. It's really not a big deal. However, it is definitely something that can work, right? It's like a tool, right? It's like, for example, not eating carbohydrates, right? Fasting in the morning will give you mental clarity. Yes, these things all work. They're all tactics. So if you're someone who has never, you know, done something hard in your life, then these tactics can help you out, right? Don't get me wrong, they can help you out. But over time, if you get your mindset fixed, if you actually understand what's important, then you don't need these tactics because they become like the difference it makes is so negligible. But don't get me wrong, it definitely still matters. And I think use like what I can recommend is use tactics and these so-called productivity tools as ways to switch up your work when it becomes mundane, or when it becomes, when you know, like when it becomes so repetitive. Maybe one day you just can't be fucked doing anything. Then maybe that's the day you want to wear a three-piece suit to work. Or for example, in my case, if I feel like I'm losing momentum, then I'll start streaming my progress. It is all things you can do to just keep the clock going, because that's really what it matters at the end of the day, guys. But then again, guys, it's always a mindset issue. If you can get this shit sorted, then you're gonna make, in my case, hopefully make my first dollar. But after that, it's gonna be like, it's gonna take up the rails from there, guys. Literally. Let's see what AI had. Let's see the sauce, right? Let's see the sauce, right? In my DJ voice. Let's see the sauce they had spit it out. All right. Is this the data they said it spit out? All right, so this is the user database, and static async. Normally, I was used to using await async, meaning what is an await function is pretty much, think about it as something waiting to be happen, which is literally the name await, right? So it's waiting to be happen. So for example, in this case, if you're creating a user, right? If you want to create a profile, then the profile is in the background still generating. It is still awaiting for something to happen. And in this case, what needs to be happen is the user to fill out their signing form or to create a sign up, right? And when that is done, then that feeds the data to the thing that is awaiting, which in this case will be the user database, right? Or user collection. And it will feed the information collected from the user to whatever data structure you have set it up. And when that happens, when your await function or await async function gets and collects the data, then it will pretty much display, or this function will run, right? So, but it needs to wait for something to be fed to it. And then in this case, it will create user, the data or the document in this case, which is all this, right? And your obviously your heavy nested task statistics, your time tracking, your achievements, your social status, your analytics, your goals, etc. Right? That's what it will create. And then it will set the document, which means when this means set the document, and it means the user reference will be pretty much this, right? The document reference is that. And again, guys, if I was here to write this myself, like, it's just so unnecessary. It is so unnecessary when you have like this Einstein brain, right? Scraping the end of the universe to find you valuable information that could, push this out of his womb in literally seconds. But if you have this, ego thinking you want to do everything yourself, then yeah, be my guest. For me, I know that I'll be spending a damn long time thinking about this. Obviously, planning may make this work. Planning and being specific about how everything or knowing exactly what you want will make this process faster. But just even typing this, guys, like, come on, you're gonna make errors. So what really is important and needs to be focused on is organization, is architecture, is structuring and restructuring the code that the AI have gave you so that it can be maintained. That is the most important thing, right? That is literally the most important thing. And my rule of thumb, and I think the best practice is never have, conflicting components in, or you just have to have like more than one component in each file, like in one component file. Like, do your separation, right? And never have like methods within UI components, right? Separate that also. Like if you have like a function that deletes something, or a function that grabs something from a database, then have that separate. Don't have that with your components, because your components is strictly for components, right? And your functions is strictly for functions. But at the moment, the AI obviously is doing the components, the functions, everything together, which is a hot mess, and that's not something we want. It's not something we want. Like right here, it says it has the methods, which is, I don't know where he put the methods, but it's probably somewhere heavily nested in these codes. There we go. These are the functions, which again should not be here. These functions that gets certain data, like like update task status, update time tracking, these should be stored in a context where is a place where data is, or functions and things are stored. Or in my case, I'll use Redux, which is again another state management tool or library we could use to store these functions that actually make changes by grabbing data from and to the UI that needs to display certain data. Great. So now we have that. I think the last thing we need to do, all right. Great. And I spelled analytics horribly wrong. Analytics? My lord. My lord, my lord, my lord. And this is what I mean, guys. Like I just can't break it down into syllables. An lay it ticks. I'm getting closer, guys. I'm getting closer. I have to say that was supposed to be an N, and not an M. Oops, no. Anna. Okay. Lytics. Gotcha. So, Anna. My throat just hurted for a second. Grab the. I need you to create the net. I need you to. I need you to. I need you to. The necessary. That's not how you spell it. Ness. Necessary. NASCAR, my lord. Necessary. 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 You know, guys, here's what I mean. Like, school is important, but like, we are in a day and an age where if we don't know something, we could at least Google it and figure it out. And it's really only the commitment of whether you want to do it or not. Like, yes, going to school definitely helps, you know, learning how to spell and shit, but just knowing where to look is the most important thing at the end of the day. And to be fearless, absolutely fearless. And I say to be fearless because I cannot tell you guys how many countless peoples I know in my life that are so much better than me. And yes, I'm willing to accept their intelligence, you know, that they are more superior. And they are just, you know, doing like they're doing what they know is what they should be doing, or they're doing what they know that is safe, you know, which is going to college, hopefully get a job, or just doing something that makes them like they don't want to do anything that brings a sense of uneasiness to their lives. You know, they want to be so certain, and so they want to know that what they are doing is guaranteed to work. If they lose that guarantee and they lose that safety, or that security, you may say, then they just don't do it. And this is why, like, a lot of people just become average. It's not because they are, for say, less intelligent than you are. You know, they may be overqualified. They may be smarter than you, but they don't want to endure the uncertainty, the uneasiness, the chance of failure, right? The chance of what if I put all my time into this and I get nothing. And that's the mindset that separates, you know, entrepreneurs and people who go and the normal route, or even just people like this is what separates, you know, people who have uncapped income versus people who have restricted income and who would have this limitation over their heads for their entire life because they want to play safe. And that is the price they have to suffer, that they are going to be encaged because they are not taking on risks. And that risk is where majority of the reward is coming from, or that risk is what money or majority of it is compensating for. It's the risk of doing something that you don't know if it will work at the end of the day. But my piece of advice is, even though you think what you are doing is not going to work, or perhaps you are afraid of you wasting your time, just know that you're not wasting your time. Just because you don't make something does not mean the time is wasted, right? Just because you are calling, random people 3 a.m. in the morning because you live in a shitty time zone and you want to, reach American time zones, and you do like 100 sales calls every single day, for like a month, it does not mean all those times are wasted. Because what I can say for certain is during those calls, when I was doing cold calls, I got over the fear of talking to people, right? I managed to control my tone. I fixed my tonality. I got more confident. And I was a totally changed person, right? Socially, like literally over the course of 2 weeks, although I gave up, that changed someone. And, in those 2 weeks, if I was measuring like, okay, how much money did I make? I made nothing. I made no money whatsoever. But would you say I wasted the 2 weeks? Heck no. But to some people, right, those, I guess, very intelligent people, they think they are wasting time. But, you're really not, because you're always getting better at something if you're focused at something. There's no way for you to go back. Like, there's no way. It just doesn't work like that. Right? If you're staying focused, doing anything, you're bound to get better. You're bound to improve. But it's your perception and the way you measure how that growth happens and what you expect from your efforts. That is when underappreciation, undervalue of your efforts comes in. And yeah, I mean, you're gonna burn out. And I think that's exactly what happened to me. I was chasing the dollar so much, and with all the rejections, and it's just creeped in, guys. It just creeped in, but you learn from that. You have to learn from that. If you don't, and if you're gonna be a victim and think that nothing's gonna come to you and you should just play safe, then nothing's gonna come to you, because that's exactly what's gonna happen. And this isn't about manifestation crap. This isn't about like all this spirituality crap. It's just the truth. It's just literally the truth. It starts with the mind. It literally starts with the mind. Anyways, let's see what AI has spit it out for me this time around. Yeah, I just don't like this. Look how many. There's literally like thousands and thousands of codes of line. It pops out like it's gonna be a lot of revisiting. That's for sure. Like, this code would not be so long if it was in a different file. So don't be intimidated of the fact that you have, I mean, this may not even be like long, but for me, like, this is the longest amount of like lines of code I've seen in one single file. Like, normally you have it separated, right? You have your user separated. You have your in this case, the post database separated. You have the analytics or tracking section database separated. But at the moment, it's just all together, which is why it looks so cumbersome. But it'll be fine, because at the end of the day, I just need to know if this works. If it works, then we are fine. Time tracking, daily analytics, weekly analytics, monthly analytics, points analytics, task completion analytics, get bar chart for your weekly progress chart, for your pie chart for your task completion, data retrieval methods, how it works, bar chart, weekly progress. I'm gonna keep all for now, but I just want to see how it had formed the data structure itself, like the database. Which it turns out is actually not that much, Nothing changed up here. Oh, there is something changed up here. Actually, a lot changed up here. So, time tracking sessions. I feel like that could be simplified. I don't think we need all that. We can just like use one universal time tracking, just spread across like 3 different tables. Also, guys, I just really need to know, like, if mewing is actually like a myth or not, because like, like it has been such a focus of mine, because I think it's actually making my jawline better. Like sometimes I manage to breathe more fully through mewing, and sometimes not, which really was the whole purpose, right? But then again, like if it doesn't work and it's just taking so many like a focus away from me, and most importantly, I think I am pushing out my front teeth, like these 2 teeth, because of it. And it's just something I don't need to worry about. So I need to find out if that shit's even worth it or not. Session ID, user categories, So tracking time session, right? Session ID, user ID, category ID, category name, category color, category icon. I don't think this is necessary, right? Start time, end time. Sure, that's, yeah, whatever. Oh, that's the time tracking session. So how much time is he spending? Okay, I get it. Duration, description, tags. I think it's saying like what exactly task is it doing, which is important for personal analytics for sure. Productivity rating. I don't have this function yet, but I definitely want to add in. Breaks taken. Sure. Breaks duration. Sure. That's important. Daily analytics, right? Analytics ID. We need to know what analytics ID is first of all, which is probably the whole thing. User ID, date, yeah, obviously. Total hours selected, total sessions, sure, categories, important, obviously, hour session. And then we have more nested. It's going to be a lot of nesting for sure. Something definitely I haven't, tackled before. Like I learned JavaScript before, but that was like so long. And I did, again, don't do drugs. But after I learned JavaScript, I was, on meth, like on and off. Like I'll be like on government benefit. So I only have like enough to, get high, get lit, as you may say, for like, a day. And then I'll wait 2 weeks and I'll get lit again. And then it'll be like in that cycle. And I think the only reason why I stopped is because I was losing something I cared so much about. And that was, my muscle, my gym performance. Like I could not say like how much and how quick methamphetamines just strips muscle away from me. Again, don't do drugs, and this is literally why I quit. Right? Because it was ruining my progress. It was literally ruining my progress. And it was just not ideal. It was just not ideal. Like I was losing progress, and that's something I really care about. So I do think like if you have nothing to lose, which is why I think, most addicts stay addicts because they literally have nothing else to lose. And I do think everyone has something to lose, but you just don't know yet what it is you actually care about. And when you don't understand that, then you'll dabble into drugs. You'll be lazy. You'll be unproductive. Not because you don't have the skill to do things or the discipline. It's because you feel like if you don't do it, nothing's gonna happen to you. And this is scary, guys. Which is why people say, be afraid of someone who has nothing to lose, because they literally just don't care about life anymore. And that's very, very scary. It's a very scary thing to me. So if I did not really cherish the way I look and how I perform at the gym, then honestly, guys, I would have been a drug addict for sure. Like I would have just, probably been on meth for like, whatever. But the thing is, like, I realize that if I keep going on these binges, you know, I'm gonna say the same. I'm gonna say the same, and most importantly, I'll probably regress, and that's something I don't want. And yes, the pleasure is great, but it's just not worth it. You know, sometimes you just have to understand it's just not worth it. But you have to realize what you are like. What do you care about that you don't want to lose? Is it your family? Is it, in my case, that's not even that it. I don't really care about that. Like, yes, it may sound, oh, David, you don't care about your family. But the thing is, like, I'm just that type of person who I feel like if, someone in my family dies, I won't really cry about it. Then, not that I don't care about them, but it just never really stuck to me. So you gotta find out what you care about, not what people say you should care about. I hear so many people online saying that you should retire, you should do this to retire your family, you should do this, to help your community. But what if you are a selfish little prick that you don't care about any of this? And then you have these, you know, philosophical people or these, wisdom people saying that, you should find love and find joy and, forgive everything and every no. But yeah, sure, that's wonderful to hear and shit. But like, at the end of the day, guys, if you are selfish, admit it and find out what you want, right? What is it that you want? No matter how wrong, how contradictory that motivation is, just admit it to yourself and really understand that I will not let anything be in my way to lose this thing that I'm not ready to lose. All right, whatever, no matter how selfish and how, fucked up the idea is that you don't want to lose or whatever, don't be ashamed to admit it. Because I think the reason why a lot of people don't find any motivation in life anymore is because they have this desire, right? They have this something they care about so much that motivates them, right? But because society doesn't think it's right on what they truly care about or what motivates them, like society thinks is wrong, and therefore they suppress it. They think, you know what, I can't be like this. Like, it's not right. I'm gonna get penalized. Nobody's gonna like me, and I'm gonna be like this weird person, right? Like a creep in the gym. I'm not saying that's right, but like, because of that, they suppress their feelings. They suppress their dark side, as you may say, and they never, really try in life. They never really take life seriously because they don't understand what it is they are not ready to lose and what it is they are ready to fight for. And that's important, guys. From my drug addiction and from, taking life seriously, that is something I had to really admit to myself. What is it that I don't want to lose? And what is it that I'm ready to just fight for? And until you're really, really honest with yourself, you ain't gonna take life seriously. Just simple as that. Okay, so task complete. That's the thing. I feel like weekly analytics and daily analytics could fall under the same thing. Right? And then instead of using like date, actually, to be more specific, maybe that's necessary. Like, I'm not too sure because I never actually done these type of data structures. So like, again, guys, me reading through this is just to confirm if everything is in place. But really, do I know if it's best practice? Heck no. Otherwise I'll be writing this myself. So I'm definitely talking more than actually focusing, that's for sure. But sometimes your crazy ideas comes from just babbling it out, babbling it out. Right. Some more database like the what do we implement? The analytics data. No, from what I think. Analytics. Boom, there we go. Analytics. Pushed to this stage. If that's the case, guys, we can start combining the front end and back end, which is gonna be some exciting shit. Okay, so how it works: user signups, user collection creates with default analytic structure, right? User completes tasks, points activity records created, user time tracking session created, end of day analytics generated via cloud functions or app logic. Cloud functions, end of the day. So user tracks time. I should probably, snip this down. I don't even like using Obsidian. It just doesn't even make sense to me. Maybe I just suck at using Obsidian, but I think what's easier is literally just use Word. Okay. Even though I have been talking pretty much for the whole time, guys, I am gonna probably. You know what? I'm trying to think if I should just keep going. Because I barely done anything today, even though I finished off my data collection. So what we should be getting is to finish my database structure, which we have done today, and connect the back end and front end, which I could do now. But maybe I'm a bitch. I'll probably do that when I come back from the gym, and I'll just finish that off. And after that, we just have to organize the UI and make the app public. That's literally all I have to do. And I think it'll be pretty easy because I have you guys with me, and I'm committed. So I'm gonna go on the break now, guys, and I'll probably restart stream later on today, like in 2 hours or so, like really quick. So yeah, but yeah, I'll see you guys